consider the debanking of conservatives' concerns. Even Jamie Dimon over at JP Morgan, I believe he was at Davos when he said, this is getting ridiculous, right? It's getting absolutely ridiculous that they're trying to meddle effectively in the banking affairs of people because they, I don't know, shop at Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah, like that would get you profiled. Dick's Sporting Goods, a few others. I mean, this was bizarre. I got to tell you, anecdotally, I never got so many calls, like with the know thy customer thing, as I did during the Biden era. Like it never had happened to me ever in my entire life. Like, and I've had a bank account since, the little passbook saving bank accounts. Remember those when we were kids? Well, some of us kids. I used to have a little Kennebunk Beach in Maine where I had my my job bussing tables during the summer when I was maybe 14. I had a little Kennebunk Beach savings passbook. I have never been through what I went through in the last 4 years. And I'm like, what is it? Okay, so I get it. Maybe the know thy customer thing. And like, I got to tell you, is it a coincidence? It actually hasn't been happening since Donald Trump came into power. So maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. But I have heard from many, many people that they were getting debanked. My good friend Dinesh D'Souza ran into this, and he had a big problem being debanked. I've heard of people that are in the crypto industry, of course, like the minute they find out you work in the crypto industry, you're out. Well, Stephen Miller is crafting policy now to make sure that this doesn't happen. Like you can't just get targeted because of an industry or because of, say, your political affiliation. He made this clear speaking with my former co-host back at CNBC, the wonderful one and only Larry Kudlow on my former employer, Fox Business. Let's watch.
We talk a lot about the weaponization of the justice system, but we haven't talked as much about the weaponization of the financial system. One of the worst features of the last 4 years under Biden and Democrat rule, but of course it also precedes that too, is the use of banking and access to the financial system to enforce a regime of censorship and political control, right? Like something out of a communist country. We all know stories of people who had their platforms, their financial platforms taken away from them simply because of how they thought or how they spoke or what their political beliefs were. As we've explored this and examined this as the White House, we found these practices are even more widespread than previously known. As you mentioned, they use this pretext of reputational risk as a basis for financial censorship, which is truly odious, truly un-American, truly dangerous to liberty in every sense. So we've worked closely with Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, on developing a financial enforcement mechanism to ensure that those who participate in the banking system are not debanking and financially deplatforming Americans as a result of their political beliefs. And we're hopefully going to have that product finished soon, and we'll be able to bring that to the president for signature. As he's identified, this is a top priority for him.
Yeah, I'm just pulling an article written by, I want to get to 76 Research in a second, because it's actually partly why I started this company, 76research.com. But I'm just looking at an article. This is from, this is from January of what year? January, can I tell? I can't tell. I think this was about a year and a half ago, guys. Or actually maybe, probably about a year and a half ago. So alarming surveillance written by a good reporter over at Fox. Feds asked banks to search private transactions for terms like MAGA and Trump. And one bank allegedly handed over information to FBI voluntarily and without any kind of legal process. So this was a big concern, all right, understandably. And it's really alarming to think that this is where we were heading. And so now this is I'm looking at the lower third. There has been a federal investigation launched into Senator Adam Schiff, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about debanking conservatives is being tested, right? It's going to be completely not allowed no longer allowed. Why don't we do that? Debanking, had you even heard that term? I had never heard that term until we went through what we went through with the Biden administration. Never heard of it. And so when Rachel Maddow gets up there and carries on like you just saw, and she says, oh my gosh, we're living in a dictatorship, what she doesn't seem to understand is the pressure that people on the other side felt that could no longer have a bank account because of their affiliation, perhaps with a party. That was very real. They really were asking for search terms like MAGA, and then they were profiling, for example, people who shopped, as I said, at Dick's Sporting Goods, which, I bought my kids a bunch of stuff there. So maybe that's why I kept getting all these calls. I don't know. But that has to stop. It really does. And when I said I started my company, 76 Research, in part because of that, it was because I and my colleague there, Rob, we were looking at all this stuff saying, this is wild. Like, you can't invest in this company because this company happens to be in the energy space. I mean, how did that make any sense? Like, if it's a profitable company, heck. But everything became about wokeness. I mean, that's why Disney is putting up what they were putting up, for goodness sakes. And I'm looking for a kid's costume for Halloween, and I go and I see princess costumes under the boys section. It was this obsessive wokeness. And yeah, we got to get away from that, but we got to make sure that you can't go after people just because of their political affiliation. That's what Letitia James, to bring it back to what we started this entire podcast talking about, Letitia James, that's what she did. And now, hopefully, she's going to face the consequences for that, because you can't do it. I mean, we are a wonderful country. By the way, 76research.com. Go there, get my newsletter. It's only $1 a month for the first 2 months, and it goes to $9.95. Look, the market, I think the MAGA economic plan is a really good one. Is a very, very good one. I started 76 Research at a time when there were opportunities in the marketplace because moronic people were making moronic decisions based on stuff that had nothing to do with profits and everything to do with wokeness. There's still a ton of opportunity, though, from my perspective and my viewpoint and my colleagues' viewpoint. We have 3 wonderful portfolios over there, and we have the newsletter, 76research.com. Charlotte, it is really good to see you today. Thanks for weighing in. Credit unions, she's writing about that she likes. Look, the banks were really darn scary during the last 4 years, and we can't have that again. You cannot debank someone because of their political affiliation. I mean, we are a wonderful country. We're a great country, and we're going to continue to be a great country. I mean, we're a special country, and it's not just because we have the highest standard of living. It's not because of our wealth that we have in America or the power that we have in America. It's really because of who we are as a country. It's our principles, right? That's what matters. It's our principles, and it's our people that believe in those principles. And I'm going to get kind of melodramatic on you, but we have a big birthday coming up, right? The 250th. And our founders of this great nation, they launched this great American experiment to really unleash all that freedom and to unleash opportunity that the world had never known. And with that came prosperity, right? And it did, because once you gave people the power to have that freedom, right? It was like the freedom to prosper. Everything else folded in. But if you're going to restrict that, like some would like to, that's a whole other thing. I mean, the good news is we're coming up on 250, and it's like we're doing this reset. We're coming back to basics. And our friends over at Americans for Prosperity, they know that. They love that. They are such terrific patriots, and they're here celebrating the entire year with me. You can go to takeonesmallstep.com because they have all these great ideas there. Like, maybe host a dinner and have some of your friends over and just talk about America's history and talk about freedom and prosperity and the fact that, what makes us special is who we are. And it's the principles of this nation. It's the foundation of this nation, right? And the founding fathers that have made us so great. They have a whole bunch of ideas. I mean, you can get involved on a bigger level if you want to. It can be just as little as, having a neighbor in for a cup of tea. You can tell I've been spending a lot of time in Ireland. Have a neighbor over for a cup of tea and talk about the greatness of this nation. Why not do do that, right? Like bring it back to the community and make sure your kids know that. Make sure your friends know that and celebrate. This is a whole year to celebrate America's 250th birthday. I'm going to have to start playing my patriotic songs again, you guys. Anyway, go check them out at takeonesmallstep.com. Just a reminder, this is amazing to me that this actually happened and that it went down. But now Trump is stunning them all, and he's going to take some steps, some important steps to make sure all of that never happens again.